Oh, thank you, Miss White. And give my compliments to the cook. That was a magnificent leg of lamb. You may leave for the night.
Yes, sir.
Pardon my asking, but who is the cook?
The cook is a man by the name of Walter Bolingbroke. He's been with the house for a long time and is most trustworthy. But of course all of the servants were questioned in one way or another.
Including Miss White?
Why yes, she was no exception. I find it interesting that suspicion should fall on her.
Oh, well, I can assure you that I had not the least intention of aiming at the downfall of an old and faithful servant, but in such cases as these, the obvious must be questioned.
Why yes, but you may put your mind at ease, Colonel. Miss White is a faithful servant and is far beyond all suspicion.
I think I'll go to bed now.
Good night, Mrs. Peacock. Sleep well.
Huh?
Do you think it possible that the murderer might be one of us here?
No, my dear sir, I think it probable.
Indeed.
Certainly, the only reason we are investigating this crime under police supervision is because we are, each of us, suspects.
You continue to amaze me, Professor. I must say, this is the strangest crime investigation I've ever had the pleasure of experiencing. Of course, it is the only crime investigation I've ever had the pleasure of experiencing. Crime investigated by the suspects, you say? What a thought.
In fact, it is quite logical.
Not sure I know what you mean.
Really, dear fellow, think about it. First to point the finger is the criminal. Supposing you were the murderer. We are all suspects. Your opinion is as good as any of ours. You are no more suspected than the rest of us. So to avoid suspicion, you pipe up and put the blame on someone else. You are caught. It is as simple as that.
As I can't see why the murderer walked so readily into the lion's mouth.
That is just the irony of it. He doesn't have a choice. He or she must either face the interrogator or become one. A scheme devised and controlled completely by Scotland Yard.
I suppose it could be effective, provided, of course, that the murderer hasn't made a run for the champ. That he or she is among the original suspects. If it was up to me, you know, I might just hire a detective or something along that line.
And so we have it. Speaking of that, where's Mr. Green?
He is the strangest fellow, here one minute, gone the next.
Written reports of the day's events to Scotland Yard. Morning. I woke this morning, not as early as I should have liked, to find Professor Plum, Colonel Mustard, and Mrs. Peacock downstairs. My suspicions were immediately aroused when the professor asked me if I had seen a tail-bearing ghost or a bunny in the closet. The tail-bearing ghost is obviously fantastic, but I very cleverly said I needed a drink, an excuse to go upstairs, and without delay I looked into the closet. It was empty. And though that's still not completely satisfied, I gave up suspecting the professor for the present. This was very clever of me, and I turned my interest on Colonel Mustard, whom I have no doubt is the criminal. I will explain. Afternoon. It is well worth notice that Colonel Mustard made an attempt at my life this afternoon. He tried to poison me with a glass of scotch. I tested the poison upon Mrs. Peacock's dog, was hideously affected, though he, being a dog, was somehow immune to the poison because he did not die. Immediately after drinking the glass of scotch, he began to hiccup and stagger as if intoxicated. I am now quite ready to make an accusation, and am only waiting for word from the police. Night. My resolution to expose Colonel Mustard wavered tonight when Miss White was mentioned. I observed her actions from a distance and found no visible trace of guilt, though she does not seem like a good sort. I await further advice from Scotland Yard. Dennis Green, Private Investigator. Can't be too careful.
Oh, hello, Mr. Green. Going to the post office.
Why do you ask?
I noticed the letter in your hand, but they're closed today. It's Sunday.
Shall I tell the cook to make you breakfast, sir?
Yes, please.
Oh, Miss White, is the professor in?
He went to the village, sir. It's market day, sir.
Did he? So that the servants do that kind of thing.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Green, won't you stay and have some breakfast?
I'll be down shortly.
Hello, Colonel.
Good morning, Professor. At market, were you?
Yes, I've always enjoyed a nice morning walk up to the village. I like to pick the supplies myself, rather than have the servants do it. Where's Mr. Green?
I'm not sure.
He's on the case like a hound on the scent. He'll crack this mystery before you know it. Well, I'm off to the library. I've nearly finished collecting the necessary materials for my book on geometry, and I can't wait. If anyone asks for me, will you point them in the right direction?
Certainly, I'll Jack. Oh, hello, old chap. How are you?
The question is, how are you?
Well, I'm smashing, old fella.
You don't seem to be working very much.
Well, it's what?
We are investigating a crime, I remind you.
Well, if you had any questions on that, you better ask the professor.
My question is not to Professor Plum, but to you. Why aren't you searching for evidence? I seem I'm the one doing any work. It might put suspicion on some, don't you think? Well, let me tell you, I am solving this mystery.
And I am playing golf. Good day, sir.
Do you know an Edmund McDonald?
Why, no. No, why do you ask?
No reason. Good day. Excellent shot, sir. Oh, thank you.